JT doesn't typically show up on camera very much. Not because he doesn't like talking. It's just mostly he doesn't enjoy being on camera. So
Yeah, I really
the
don't.
fact that he did this is really a big deal. But we're going to be telling you guys about quite possibly the craziest string of occurrences that have ever happened in our careers. So let's just go ahead and dive right on into it. JT, can you tell me what happened on August 24th?
So on August 24th, that's when we believe this all began. This whole, just, all these occurrences one after another. Basically, I'm the HOA president of our building, and so I have to do things like build stuff and do yard work and all of that. The plan was that day to build a trash pad for the backyard. I go out back. It's like 5:30 at this point, and I look down the alleyway before I get in the truck, and there are these cats, and there are 3 cats. Now, we have cats around the house all the time, but the way that they were positioned, they were staggered perfectly, and I took a photo because I remember thinking, wow, this is like so weird.
Yeah, that's not really typical for these cats in particular. They're
No.
usually pretty skittish. Like once they sense that you're approaching, they kind of just like scurry like cockroaches.
Yeah, you couldn't go up and like pet one.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was the way I had to go, down the alleyway. So I get in my truck and I like pull up to the cats, and they're not moving. And I'm like, this is weird. Like, why are they not moving? They always just like kind of like go off to the side. And so I stop there, and I can't beep the horn because, it's 5:30 and the neighbors are sleeping. So I like start just inching closer and closer, and I had to get up kind of close where I'm like peeking over the front to make sure I'm not like hurting the cat. And they kind of all move in unison out of my way. And I was like, already very strange. So I go to Home Depot, and everything was really normal until I pull into the parking lot. The parking lot is pitch black. I mean, just like
Terrifying.
Yeah.
Parking lot.
It's like slam black. And I go in the parking lot, I look over to the Home Depot, it's closed, and I realize that they changed their hours from Sunday at 6 a.m. Now they open at 8 a.m. So I'm like, crap, I got to turn around. So I go into the parking lot to do a UE, and I see a woman in the darkness in a blue robe. Has her arms crossed. She's hunched over, and she's zigzagging. She's about 50 yards away. Immediately, I'm like, I got to get a photo of this. This is creepy. And so I pull my phone out, which is at that point in time, it was the iPhone 16 Pro Max. I pull my phone out, take a photo, and I just see her moving. She's kind of moving towards me just a little bit, but not too much. She's going really slow. She seemed elderly to me. And I switch it to video mode because I'm like, man, I want to get a video of this. It felt paranormal to me over like somebody who was actually there, if that makes any sense. I go to film her, and this new phone, this thing is not recording. And I'm like, I would keep hitting the record button and the screen would go blurry and then nothing. And I'm like, bruh. She's still over there 50 yards away, and I come back, and about 20-30 seconds passes of me trying to restart the camera app and all that to try to get video mode to work. I look up, and she is right there, right at the car, like 10 yards away at that point. In 20 to 30 seconds, she gained 40 yards, which did not seem right. It was like either she ran, or what do they do in Harry Potter?
Apparate.
Or she apparated. I was like, what is going on?
Right.
It freaked me the hell out, and I immediately got out of there. I actually called the police just in case it wasn't a spirit, but I called Savannah non-emergency and just said, hey, there's a lady, she might need help. I didn't know if she might have been potentially on drugs or something like that. She might have needed the paramedics. I don't know, because she seemed really cold and it was really warm out. And then we didn't hear anything of it, and it was just a creepy occurrence.
And what was weird to me was because I had been doing research at the time to kind of understand some of the different entities that are in the museum, specifically the kitsune, just because I don't know a lot about it. And when I was digging into it, one of the big things that I found was that kitsunes oftentimes will appear as a woman in a blue robe. So when you told me that, I was like, that's jarring. That's
Yeah.
really jarring. Okay, so let's fast forward to September 18th. And can you tell me a little bit about how that morning went on?
So basically, every morning I arrive with Isla, my Boykin Spaniel, and we come right here into the studio and we start working. It was all normal, very normal. Basically, how this building is structured is the studio is right next to the museum. The museum's right over there, and there's a door that leads to it, and it doesn't have any vents. So I have to open up the door to the museum to let some air conditioning into the studio. As I'm making her breakfast over there, I see her staring into the museum and she starts growling. Now, she's done this before, but as a puppy, and puppies do crazy things. Their brain's not fully developed, so I never thought anything of it. But now she's 1 years old and she's very, very intelligent, and she is growling like an aggressive dog. She's not aggressive at all. She's growling into the museum, and I'm like, quit that, you're being creepy. Because I'm like, what's going on? It's a paranormal museum, so I'm like, what do you see? Uh, and then a couple hours go by. The Wi-Fi modem is at the opposite side of the bay. So every morning, as a video creator for this show, I have to take the computer over into the museum and I have to do my big uploads there. I usually do it at the front desk. So I'm standing there, I'm doing my uploads, and all of a sudden I start hearing coughing, which is like really strange because I'm the only one in the bay, and it's just Isla in the studio, and she's all the way over in the studio, and she doesn't cough like a human. So I was like, what the heck is going on? And I like look around, and I'm like thinking, I hope we caught that on tape because that's really creepy because we have Ring cameras around the museum. Go back to my work, and just out of nowhere I feel this like intense pain, almost Charlie horse like, in the center of my back, like the spine, and it's my upper back, and I get pushed forward into the desk super, super hard. I was absolutely like stunned at first because I'm thinking, was that a back spasm? Everyone knows that I have like not a great back. And so I was like, that's super weird because a back spasm, if it did happen, which it only happened like once or twice before, but it would happen in my lower back and it doesn't feel like that. But anyway, I get slammed into the desk super, super hard and bruise my ribs like immediately. I feel the searing pain. I go and I grab my laptop and my drives and I just get out of there mid upload. I'm not staying here because it started to occur to me quickly after that. This could be a paranormal instance. This could be an actual attack from an entity. So I got out of there. And when I came into the studio, mentally I started to feel a little bit better. Physically, I was in some serious pain. I was thinking, did I fracture my ribs? Like, what's going on? I was just extremely confused,
Right.
At that point.
Yeah, it was odd because I was only off my phone for like 2 hours, y'all. Like,
If that.
I swear, I can't be off my phone because I showed up to the museum because I was supposed to pick up Isla to take her home. And Chris and Megan and JT were all in the studio. Nothing seemed abnormal. That's very typical for us on a day to day basis. And Megan was like, "Hey, you want to go see some haunted dolls?" And that we just picked up this morning. And I was like, "Yeah, of course." Again, really normal, which I know doesn't sound normal for most people, but it is for us. And so Chris, Megan, and I were all in the employees' little room that they have in the museum. And Chris and Megan go, "Are you going to get JT something for protection, like an iron ring or something?" And I'm like, "What? What are you talking about?" And I looked at them like they had four eyes because I was so confused. And Chris was like, "JT got attacked. Did you not see the video?" And I'm like, "No, I did not see the video." And I watched the video immediately. And I was like, "Oh my God, JT, you got wrecked by a ghost."
And if you watch the video, the thing is what I only remember is being pushed forward. But if you watch the video, my left foot goes back as if something is pulling me back a little bit to increase distance to make the impact harder. So I was brought back just a little bit before being pushed forward, but it happened so quick, I can only remember being pushed forward, but the video doesn't lie. And so we got it on Ring Video. I immediately was like, what, like, was there like a shadow figure behind me? I was going to look, there was nothing. And I downloaded it, sent it over to them. They were like, "What the hell?" And I suddenly started to feel weird about the video because I'm like, what do I do as a career? I make video content for a paranormal podcast. And I'm like, if I show this video to anyone who's not, family, it could be bad news because people are going to immediately go, "He faked it." And I didn't. Like, I am like, we don't fake things on this show. That's what our fan base loves so much about this show is our ghost hunts are, they're not boring. We fill time and we have a good time, but oftentimes nothing happens. But that means when we do get a direct response, it's very exciting because everyone knows we ain't faking it. This is real, right? So if I uploaded or showed it to anybody, I was worried that people would immediately, deface the brand, saying that we create fake content, which we never have and never will. We pride ourselves on that. So I was like, this is gonna be archived, and everyone kind of like came to an agreement, right?
Yeah, we were all in agreement, because none of us really want that experience of having our story shared and getting ripped apart by the internet, because unfortunately that is a very real occurrence that could happen. And so we totally were on board to just sit on the story and just keep it as something that we only share here and there.
We just weren't going to show it until what happens next happened. And the next occurrence did not happen to me or anyone that I knew at the time. It happened to a man who had no idea what happened to me, and the exact same thing happened, but in a worse way.
The key difference, too, was that JT, after he got attacked, actually left, versus the guy you're about to hear from, he did not leave.
No, he didn't.
And so it's still a very bizarre experience that we're all still trying to figure out, because there's a lot of objects and entities attached to these objects in the museum that could be to blame for this.
I was extremely confused when I came in here because I'm like, what just happened? Like, first off, I'm like worried about my back because I'm thinking, which the pain on the back was gone. It was only my ribs at that point. And so the pain in my back dissipated almost immediately. And I was worried about my back, if it's going to happen again, this, that, and the other. I'm thinking, sure, it could be paranormal, but I really have to think about if this is like an actual health thing, because that I can't have that happen while I'm driving. I will hit a tree, like things like that. I'm like stressed out. I start thinking back to like what a Charlie horse feels like, what a back spasm feels like, and on your spine. I don't know if that happens to people. I'm like thinking about all of that, and I couldn't come up with anything. I started to really kind of believe that this was a paranormal occurrence, an aggressive paranormal occurrence. And I've been in some of the most haunted places in the world with Madison and Chris, Waverly, Conjuring House, like we've done it. And though we had a small instance happen at the Conjuring House, you have to go back, check that, but it wasn't anything even close to this. So I felt just stressed out. I felt like I needed to show the video, but then I'm like, I don't want that smoke. And then the next thing that happened, that is why the reason why you're seeing this right now is because of what happens next.
Before we get started, the first question that I wanted to ask was, did you have any pre-knowledge of a person being struck in the back the way that you were?
No.
Did you have any idea, any story came across you? Did you hear it at all that there was a...
Not at all.
That had happened?
No.
Okay. The next one is... do you imbibe in any substances that could impair your facilities? Are you using anything illicit or pharmaceutical? Anything, any medications that could in any way?
Not at all. I can probably say I've been clean since 2007 of any drugs, anything that could alter my reality.
Okay, good to know. All right, so basically what I have here is this is a basic series of questions that are usually asked after an exorcism has been performed.
Okay.
I felt that it was a good enough starting point for this debriefing, because what we really want to make sure is that you're doing well. That
no, 100%.
You no longer have
Yeah.
those things attached to you, but also what we can do to ensure that it doesn't happen, because we don't want it to happen to anyone else on our property. You are now one of 3 people who have had an incident where they had a strike in the back of their, between their shoulder blades. So knowing that is what is going on here,
wow.
We are having to tighten what we think it is. We have an idea, but we're not sure. So I'm going to be asking you some questions. The first question is when was this experience? We already know that this occurred on September 9th. September 26th at 11:30-ish p.m. at the Savannah Paranormal Museum. Had anything unusual, stressful, or emotional been happening to your life coming into this investigation?
Honestly, not more than usual, no.
Okay, so there's no undue stress. You didn't come in stressed out?
No, not at all. Actually, I came in actually in a really good mood. I felt great. I had a conversation with the ladies outside. They were super excited about it. And so no, nothing unusual, no stress factors, anything on those lines.
All right. So this, of course, goes right into that question. Were others present or aware of what was happening at the time? That may not be for you to answer, because it is my understanding that you don't have solid recollection.
I do not. What I do remember is I believe that there was 3 or 4 other young ladies in there with us.
That is correct. So there were 4 other investigators that came from the outside. My wife, Megan, and I were present at the investigation. Do you know what the last thing, can you tell us what the last thing you remember happening during the course of the investigation?
So the very last thing I remember was I was sitting there and I was holding my SLS camera, and we were filming. We were getting some really cool hits on the SLS camera. We got hits on the chair. We had a hit on one of the dolls. We'd ask it to get bigger and smaller. I remember that. And then the very last thing I remember is getting hit in my back and about buckling to my knees.
Yes.
After that, I do not recall.
So you do not recall that at all?
No, I do not recall any of that afterwards.
For the record, what I showed him was video of our producer, JT, getting hit in the back in the exact same manner on our security footage. I was trying to express that what you had experienced was experienced by this gentleman here, is JT, had the exact same experience happen to him, where he was hit dead in the spine between his shoulder blades to the point at which he buckled forward so hard that he bruised his ribs on the counter of our front desk. So with that knowledge,
Damn.
and if that's the last thing you remember, it should be noted that the amount of time that subject number 2 has been out of lost time is approximately an hour and a half. Yeah. You lost about an hour and a half of time.
Holy
And you had continued your investigation. You continued, but you were doing strange things and things that we were marking as a little unorthodox. You actually opened up the hole, which is a hole that the spirits are always trying to get us to through our equipment, and you put your feet in the hole, and you did an Estes method while dangling your feet in the hole, and that only lasted about 10 seconds before you darted away from the hole, saying that something was trying to drag you under. Now, all of that did occur after the hit to the back. So if your last thing that you remember is being hit in the back, and we do have that on video, we do have footage of it, you did lose about 90 to 2 hours of time.
Holy crap! That's very surprising.
Yeah. Well,
Wow.
and it was alarming. It was alarming, but
Was it really that long?
it was. And you were operating perfectly fine until we did a big lights out Estes method, and it was during that period it was one of the last things we did, and it was after 11:30 that that the event in question happened. Did the entity identify itself by any name or claim anything like that? Do you have a name that ever came to you in this time? That is fine.
No, I didn't get it. I didn't get a name or anything like that.
And it didn't communicate with you in any way? You didn't get any like messaging or any thoughts or stray thoughts, or since the period, were you given any inclination of anything?
I believe I sent you a message saying that I had a dream, and the dream I had was that the stab in my back was the start of it.
Yes.
I had that dream, and I actually had that. It wasn't just like one time, and like I woke up and I remember my wife kind of looking, going, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm good." I remember telling her, I was like, "Yeah, I keep getting this stab in my back."
The next question that comes up is control and intent. Did the spirit seem to have full control over you? Did this? What were the intents? And that's something that you may not know.
I honestly couldn't answer that question.
Right. From our point of view, it did seem as though you were out of communication. We couldn't communicate with you directly. The only communication you would give us was growls and shouts. So you were growling and shouting. And this puts us in the idea that you were subdued by the spirit. Whatever was happening against your consent and against your will.
Who's there?
Chris?
Yeah.
Chris?
Get that sword thing, please.
Get the sword right now. Wait,
I'm scared.
Chris?
I'm here, I'm scared.
Shine your light on him. Something's taken out of him.
I'm scared.
Okay. We're all here together, we're okay.
Chico!
Something's taken over him.
I'm scared.
It's okay. We're all here together, we're okay.
Chico!
I will. Be careful. I'm sweating. Something is taking over. He's obviously open to it.
What the fuck is that?
No.
You are not allowed.
This is scribbling, I think.
Release him. Chico the Demon Queller will come forward. I have his sword. I have his will.
Okay, you wanna hold this with me now?
You may not endure. I am trained by I am first disciple of my knowledge goes back 2,000 years, and my blade will cut through your existence. Through your existence! If you wish to remain, you will release this man. If you wish to remain intact and not sent to the hell of 1,000 sinners, split in 1,000,000 pieces by the blade of Chico. Is that you? Patrick? Hang on. I think you might have been possessed for a second there, dude. It's okay. Where are your shoes?
They're on the floor here.
Put your shoes on. Take deep breaths. You are not allowed. Release him. Yeah! Chico the Demon Queller will come forward. I have his sword. I have his will. You may not endure.
When I left, I got my truck. I put holy water on my arms, holy on my face, and I put holy water on my feet, and I started throwing up. After I got done throwing up, it took about a day and a half for me to feel more like myself.
And so that's a great denotation. Retching after being possessed is a very common thing. You're actually purging yourself of a spiritual toxin at that point. That is something that is talked about a lot. People have a lot of instances. It famously is portrayed in most stories that when you're dealing with any type of possession, it can make you so physically ill that you end up retching. Did it react to specific words, prayers, objects, or people? I will answer that. I have in my possession a sword that is fashioned after the Demon Queller, and it is a sword specifically used for exorcisms. It also has a long tie of spirits that you're supposed to draw and call upon in the case of possession. I did call upon one of the spirits, and the reaction was pretty immediate. You didn't react to the blade itself, but you did react to its when it finally was present and pressing. That is when you retreated, and you retreated into a back room where that's where you were really growling and making very fierce noises. This is an immediate effect, which is abnormal. It is not normal for a spirit to be able to just control a person within an hour, within a day, or within anything like that, which will bring up the question, have you ever had any experience like this before?
So I've had a similar experience like this, but I felt like I had more control.
Sure.
As soon as we realized what was happening, as soon as we realized we got out, we got holy water, we did a prayer and a blessing. But to this extent, Absolutely not.
I feel pretty resolved. I came in a little early today to kind of walk around, and I'm not gonna lie, I was very nervous.
Sure.
To the point where I asked one of the guys, "Hey, can you walk around with me?"
Yeah. What would you like others to understand about what happened to you?
So, I've been a paranormal investigator for almost 16 years now. About 10 years ago, I started taking people, the people would, hey, can we experience something paranormal? And I've always had that protection mode of me. I wanted to make sure that people around me were protected. Nothing happened to these people. So I'd always say something, but I'd always have my cross on me. But I would always say something. I'd tell the spirits when we're there, hey, look, nothing here can interact, nothing here can touch or do anything to the people around me. But if you're going to do something, do it to me instead. Not realizing in my head, that's kind of giving them permission.
Yeah.
I thought I was doing and saying something to protect people around me, but at the same time, I didn't realize I was also opening myself up.
And, to a certain degree, there's a nobility in saying, take me, take me. The only problem is you might become the weapon. That concludes our interview as far as this official thing, because by going through this information, when this happens again, if it happens again, we'll be allowed, we'll have records of this and we'll ask the same questions and we'll be able to, hopefully every time this happens, we will investigate what we know and put up guards in place. Right now, I've moved some iron around in the building to be more protective. But having said that, I think you're still susceptible to this location. So you need to be wary. If and when you come visiting, I think it's going to call you. It's always going to want you to come back. And that feeling you feel when you want to come back, that feeling is the spirit, because it knows you well enough to say, oh yeah. Because here's the thing. When you were coming to, you said repeatedly how much you wanted to go back to the hole.
Okay, see, I don't remember that, but on the way here, I kept getting hole.
Yeah, see?
Where is the hole?
Oh, I'm not telling you. It's better that you don't know. The sensation that you're feeling is very common for people who have dealt with this kind of interaction. Is it's kind of, it almost feels like addiction. It's like, come on, I know where I need to go. See, I had that for years and years with the building downtown. This sensation that I have to go inside. If I don't go inside, it's telling me to go inside. You rationalize. You're like, I just have to see for myself. I just need to.
That's about what it feels like.
So don't give into that. And know that that's something here. We're not barring you from coming here. We're just giving you a heads up that it might not be the safest place for you. And we need you to be aware of that, because, and there's no other way to say it, this place has a piece of you now.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And that's going to always be a question of your discipline, saying, I'm not going to go to the place that damages me, or I'm not going to do this and this. That is, again, like I said, not saying don't come here. It's just saying be hyper aware, and that way in the future we can go on ghost hunts somewhere else.
Exactly. No, 100%.
But carry this with you, because it is that unknown thing. The thing that we don't know is our weakness. And so we have to always remain on the side of, I don't have an answer for everything. And what I do have an answer for, because now you have an answer for this.
Yes.
It's like, it does seem that the cross, not being on you played a big role in this. It does seem like the idea of being open for come at me instead of them, when it should be don't come to anyone.
Yeah, and now,
draw the line around everybody, include yourself.
Yeah, when we had that kind of that text conversation, I came to the realization, because you had said something. You literally said, you're like, you didn't say it this way, but you pretty much, you're like, you're stupid for doing that. And I was like, and I sat there and I was like, you know what? That actually is really stupid. And I'd been doing this for years.
Well, and again, I don't I don't claim it as stupid. I claim it as short-sighted.
Let's claim it as it is. Let's be honest.
And that's fair. And ideally, just don't do it anymore because there are tricky, nasty things out there.
Yeah, very much so.
That you don't want to give any credence to, because this is not normal. This is not normal by any stretch of the imagination. I've been on, Lord knows how many thousands of investigations in my life, and I've only seen something like this a handful of times, and I would say that this was nearly the worst. There's only one other in my life that I can think was worse than this.
Damn.
And this was right up there with it, and mostly because of the distance you took from yourself. That's the danger, is like when you can't communicate at all, when whatever's inside there seems feral, because you kind of seem like an animal. You're very animalistic, and that was what was kind of worrying everybody. It was unpredictable. Because in a lot of cases, if a spirit takes over, they want to communicate. They want to say something. This one did not. It did not want to communicate. And that tells us a lot.